All right, let's just think about this for a second. Every moment of your life, your body is surrounded by invisible invaders trying to get in. But you've got this incredible, built-in security team that works around the clock to keep you safe. Today, we're going to get to know those frontline defenders, your innate immune system.
So picture this. A pathogen, maybe a virus or some bacteria, manages to breach your body's outer walls. Immediately, an alarm goes off. So who answers that 911 call? It's not the highly trained detectives, not yet. No, it's the first responders, the ones who are always on patrol, ready to go at a moment's notice.
Okay, so let's break this down. Your body actually has two totally different but connected defense forces. You've got the innate system. Those are the fast-acting emergency services we're talking about today. And then you've got the acquired system. Think of them as the specialist detectives, the ones who learn the culprit's identity, and trust me, they never forget a face.
And this chart really lays out the big difference, right? Your innate response is all about one thing: speed. It is immediate, but it's also pretty general. And, this part is key, it has zero memory. That's why you can get the same annoying common cold over and over again. Your acquired system, on the other hand, is slower to get going, but it's incredibly specific and it builds a lifelong memory of the bad guys. Today, though, we're all about that first group, the one built for speed and immediate action.
Yeah, so today we are basically doing a ride-along with these guys. This system is with you from the day you're born, and it's protecting you long before that fancy acquired system even learns its first lesson. So, let's gear up and see how these first responders get the job done.
So, that 911 call goes out, the alarm is blaring. And it's not just one unit that shows up to the site of an infection. No way! A whole team gets dispatched, and these are the different cells of the innate immune system. Each one has a very specific job to do.
So let's do a quick roll call. Meet the main players. First up, you've got your phagocytes. We'll call them the cleanup crew, because they literally eat invaders. Then you have the natural killer cells, or NK cells. They're like the special ops team for taking out our own compromised cells. Mast cells? They're the alarm systems. And dendritic cells act like field reporters, gathering intel to pass on to the detectives if things get really serious.
Okay, let's talk about the real muscle first, the phagocytes. The name literally means eating cells, and that's not an exaggeration. Their job is simple and honestly kind of brutal. Find the enemy, wrap themselves around it, and completely digest it. This crew includes famous cells you might have heard of, like neutrophils and macrophages. They are the absolute workhorses of this whole operation.
But what happens when the bad guys aren't just out in the open? What if they're smart and they hide inside our own cells, like viruses do? Well, that's when you send in the natural killer cells. These guys patrol your body, checking your cells for any signs of trouble. And if they find a cell that's been compromised, they don't just kill it, they convince it to hit the self-destruct button. It's a clean, efficient takedown.
Now, you didn't think these first responders were showing up to a fight empty-handed, did you? Of course not. They have standard-issue weapons and a really sophisticated communication network to make sure the attack is coordinated. Let's take a look at what's in their arsenal. Okay, so their main weapons include these things called antimicrobial peptides. You can think of them as tiny little grenades that just punch holes in the membranes of microbes. Then there's the complement system. It's this whole cascade of proteins in your blood just waiting for a signal. Once they get activated, they can tag invaders so they're easier for phagocytes to find, or they can gang up and puncture the enemy directly. Pretty cool.
So you've got all these cells, all these weapons. How in the world do they coordinate everything? Well, they use what's basically an emergency radio network made of cytokines. These are tiny protein signals that cells shoot out to shout instructions across the battlefield. Things like, hey, we need more backup over here, or light it up, start inflammation now.
And to see just how precise this can be, check this out. A specific type of cytokine, called a chemokine, acts like a breadcrumb trail. It creates a chemical scent that leads other immune cells directly to the source of the trouble. It's an amazing way to make sure backup arrives exactly where it's needed most.
You know, this whole thing brings up a really big question, right? A huge one, actually. We've already said that this system is general, it's nonspecific, it has no memory. So how does it know who the bad guys are? How does it tell the difference between a dangerous bacteria and one of your own perfectly healthy cells?
Now seriously, think about it. Put yourself in their shoes. It's like being a police officer and being told to just stop suspicious activity without any photos of the suspects. What do you even look for? Well, that's the exact problem your innate immune system has to solve every single second.
And the answer is
It's just so clever. It all comes down to pattern recognition. Your innate immune cells are covered in these things called pattern recognition receptors, or PRRs. They don't look for one specific virus. Instead, they're trained to spot common, ancient features that are only found on microbes, things like a specific kind of bacterial cell wall or the structure of viral DNA.
And a perfect example of this is a family of receptors called toll-like receptors, or TLRs. Look at this, it's like a most wanted list. You've got different TLRs that are hardwired to spot different patterns. So TLR4, for example, is built to spot something called LPS, which is all over the surface of gram-negative bacteria. TLR7, it's on the lookout for single-stranded RNA, which is a dead giveaway for a lot of viruses. It's a simple but an unbelievably effective profiling system.
And the second one of these TLRs gets a match. Bam! It kicks off this whole chain reaction. The receptor locks onto the pattern, the immune cell gets the signal to go, it starts blasting out those cytokine alarm signals we talked about, and a full-on inflammatory response begins. That brings the heat, the swelling, and even more immune cells rushing to the scene to shut down the threat.
You know, it's funny. We hear so much about antibodies and vaccines. They're the rock stars of the acquired immune system. And they are super important, don't get me wrong. But this innate, frontline defense, it's truly the unsung hero of your health.
I mean, get this. The reality is that your innate immune system successfully deals with the vast majority of potential infections, we're talking well over 90% of them, before they ever get a chance to become a real problem. Most of the time, you don't even have a clue that a battle was just fought and won inside of you.
So when you boil it all down, what is this system? Well, it's your 24/7 security patrol. It's there from birth, it is always the first to respond to any threat, it doesn't need past experience, and maybe most importantly, it buys that crucial time for the specialist detectives, the acquired system, to get ready, just in case the invasion is too big for the first responders to handle on their own.
But, and there's always a but, isn't there? This system is fast, but it's not invincible. It can be outsmarted. So what happens then? What happens when you face an enemy that's too new, too strong, or just too clever for the first responders? Well, that's when you have to call in the specialists. And that is a story for our next explainer.